from a compilation of articles by Rabbi Michael-ben-Pesach, Portnaar. Any group forming is destructive. Look, all what the so-called disciples of Yeshua did, they did it not in the name of Yeshua, but in order to form a group that would eventually rule over the world. Yeshua didn't ask them to form any group or church, as they called it. Yeshua asked them solely to spread the good news about the coming of the kingdom of heaven in the heart of every person without exception. First to a Jew, because he represents the wish to give, and then to a non-Jew, because he is a product of the wish of receive for himself. Now, if a person accepts these teachings of the kingdom of heaven, all the wonders will be revealed to him. The wonders mean that then all the inner darkness, unclean power, klipot, etc., will leave this person. But these disciples went from him out to gain power over the world by forming a group, a church. Therefore, the worldly leaders were anxious of this new religious group power, and therefore just killed them one by one as competitors. Look at any spiritual group that pretends to bring light to their gang. They all strive for money and power in this world. We are the world Kli. We will find the state of Kabbalah, and so we will rule over the world. You know this slogan. We are the chosen ones. That means we will get all the world in our hands, spiritually, financially, intellectually, scientifically, etc. However, the divine protection from above is provided only to an individual and not to any group at all. This is because our Father in heaven listens only to the heart of a single person. Only this direct relation exists between the higher and a man. That's why all his disciples were slaughtered one by one. The same story is with Jewish religious groups. They separated themselves from all other nations of the world, from outside as well as within themselves. And that could not come from above, but was instead the earthly will of the gang of rabbis who desired only to rule over this nation and indirectly over the whole world. That's why entire religious Jewish population of villages were slaughtered by Romans when they were sitting and doing nothing during their Shabbos, that they fulfilled outside as a group with hands and feet. However, the divine goal of every single Jew is aimed to spread the teachings of the individual salvation of the soul, first to himself and then to all the nations of the world, instead of nationally and religiously separating themselves from the rest of the world. That's why also Jews were not protected, are not protected at all up till now, and will not be protected as long as they do not respond to the call of their Father in heaven to fulfill their unique destined task. And no one Jew will be protected by his Father without a prior connection to the power of Yeshua in himself. All this wisdom and much more I've got from the Lurian Kabbalah that was given to the only one great spiritual chain of passing the light. Father, Yeshua, Moshe, Shimon, Bar, Yochai, Ari. And then will come the Mashiach. The state of Israel doesn't provide any protection where I'm speaking about. It is a kind of an outer group protection which is only temporary. For no one group protection is from above to withstand the time. The first two temples in Jerusalem were not protected because, as we learned in the book Zohar, both of them were not the temples from above, not spiritual ones, not from the hand of God, but solely an architectural masterpiece of human hands. Look at the history. How many times the land of Israel was occupied by other nations? And what are some 65 years of a state of Israel in the run of the entire history of mankind? Nothing. And this is because only the inner protection of Israel really protects. The inner protection of every single Jew and a non-Jew living in the state of Israel. Baal Sulam writing that we were given the land again in order to fulfill our role to bring Kabbalah onto the nations. Meant exactly what I tell you. Through the individual spiritual work of every single Jew, instead of all kinds of the groups, comedy of their gangs of rabbis, including groups of Kabbalists. Look how childish they try to separate themselves from Palestinians, from Palestine. They build a wall. This comes because with Israelites lies a wall between them and the nations of the world, who are all equal with Jews, constructive part of the creation, children of their Father in heaven. Should this wall making withstand the time, forget it. Instead of such behavior in vain to protect the state of Israel, every single Jew needs to find a Palestine within himself, as I had to find a biker within myself. There is no way to escape from this demand of our Father in heaven to get real protection that withstands the time.